In 2024, the global tech industry committed over $200 billion in capital expenditure, a staggering figure that echoes the industrial fervor of the American Gilded Age between 1870 and 1900, when massive trusts reshaped the world economy. Today, Northern Virginia's Loudoun County serves as the modern Chicago, a critical data center hub where the physical infrastructure of the digital age is concentrated, mirroring the rail-linked industrial centers that once defined the expansion of the American frontier. During the late 19th century, the rise of Carnegie Steel and Standard Oil marked a period of rapid, unchecked industrialization, where the consolidation of physical resources allowed a few firms to dominate the emerging markets of a newly interconnected global economy. The 1873 panic serves as a stark historical reminder of the fragility inherent in rapid, debt-fueled infrastructure expansion, where speculative bubbles in railroad construction led to a deep economic depression that lasted until 1879, devastating countless small investors. By 1890, the Sherman Antitrust Act was signed into law to curb the monopolistic power of these industrial titans, establishing a precedent for government intervention that remains a central point of debate in today's regulatory discussions regarding artificial intelligence. The map of the digital age is defined by three primary nodes: the R&D hubs of Silicon Valley, the massive server farms of Northern Virginia, and the critical semiconductor foundries of Taiwan, which act as the Misabi range of the 21st century. The Gilded Age saw the rise of the robber barons who utilized vertical integration to control every aspect of production, a strategy now mirrored by hyperscalers like Microsoft, Google, and Amazon as they secure energy, hardware, and software. The 20th century turned toward electrification, a shift that fundamentally altered urban growth and productivity, much like the current transition toward GPU-accelerated computing is expected to redefine the economic landscape of the next several decades through massive automation. In 2012, the AlexNet breakthrough ignited the modern deep learning era, setting the stage for a decade of rapid innovation that culminated in the 2022 public release of ChatGPT, triggering an unprecedented AI arms race among global tech giants. The oil boom of the early 1900s transformed global energy markets, creating institutions that dictated international policy for a century, just as current investments in data center power capacity are forcing a radical reevaluation of national energy grids. Historians have long warned that infrastructure-led growth often ignores the social costs of displacement and inequality, a pattern that repeaters of history suggest could lead to significant labor market disruptions if the gains of AI are not broadly distributed. The 2023 inquiry by the Federal Trade Commission into cloud computing and AI partnerships highlights a growing political crisis, as regulators attempt to prevent shadow mergers that could stifle competition before it even fully emerges. Comparing the 1890s to the 2020s reveals a recurring cycle. The transition from steam and steel to silicon and software follows the same path of intense capital concentration, high barrier to entry, and eventual regulatory friction. The human cost of the Gilded Age was often borne by the working class, who navigated volatile labor markets and urbanization, mirroring modern concerns about AI-driven job displacement and the erosion of traditional roles in the global digital economy. The 2024 EU AI Act represents the most significant attempt yet to manage the safety and infrastructure of these massive models, signaling a departure from the laissez-faire attitudes that characterized the unregulated expansion of the late 19th century. Scientifically, data centers rely on massive cooling and logic processing power, creating a physical footprint that demands consistent, high-voltage energy supplies, which act as the modern equivalent of coal-fired steam engines in the industrial age. The United States government responded to these supply chain vulnerabilities with the 2022 CHIPS and Science Act, providing billions in subsidies to ensure that the critical logic chips required for AI development remain within domestic control. Memory of the Gilded Age is preserved in museums and literature that highlight the tension between progress and inequality, serving as a cultural touchstone for understanding how society balances the benefits of massive technological shifts against their risks. A lesser-known fact is that the energy consumption of global data centers is projected to double by 2030, a rate of growth that mirrors the electrification of American cities at the turn of the 20th century. Ultimately, the story of silicon steel is one of structural evolution, where the geography of compute power and the policy choices of today will determine whether AI serves as a tool for broad prosperity or a mechanism for further economic stratification. As we navigate this new Gilded Age, the lessons of the past remind us that infrastructure is never just about technology, it is about the power dynamics, regulatory frameworks, and societal values that define the architecture of our collective future. The concentration of compute power in three firms, Microsoft, Google, and Amazon mirrors the Big Three rail and steel trusts of the 1890s, proving that the structural incentives of massive capital-intensive industries remain consistent across centuries of rapid technological advancement.